and welcome to another video in my Photoshop Essential Skills series. Everything you need to know to get you well and truly started on your journey of discovery with Photoshop. In this video we're going to be looking at the crop tool. Now don't forget, if you're a fan of the printed page, there is a free ebook to accompany the video. Just click on the link in the More section under the video to download it. Okay, let's dig in. What are we going to learn during this video? Number one, we're going to identify and select the crop tool itself. Number two, we're going to actually perform a freeform crop. Number three, we're going to perform a preset crop. Number four, we're going to display and change the crop overlays. And number five, we're going to straighten an image. And finally, number six, we're going to be changing the crop preferences. Okay, lot to do. Let's get started. Now the Photoshop crop tool serves three main purposes. The first is to crop, which means to cut an area out of an image by selecting the area that you want to keep. It's also handy for quickly resizing images. These functions can be used at the same time to crop and resize a photo or any type of image at once. Finally, we can straighten images, such as if you've got a wonky horizon. So, selecting the crop tool, how do we select it? Well, it's here in the toolbox. We can see this little symbol here, and we can click on that and we can select the crop tool. Now if I hover over that, you'll see that there is a keyboard shortcut of C. So I can either press C on the keyboard, just go and click the tool here. Now when you do this, the crop handles will appear. And these be they, and they're at each corner, and there's one in the middle. Now you can click and drag on any of these handles to resize the image. So I'll click on that one, and I'll click on that one, just to resize the crop, and then I can click and move the image inside the crop until I get a composition that I'm happy with. Now when we accept this crop, what will happen is it'll keep this little piece in the middle, and it'll throw away everything that's round the outside. Now to accept the crop, all we do, there's a couple of different ways we can do that. We can double click inside the crop, or we can just go up on the tool options bar here. At the end you'll see a little tick and it's commit current crop operation. So either of those ways, I'm just going to click on the tick and we've now cropped the image. Okay, now I'll just undo that with Control and Z, or Command and Z if you're on a Mac. Now by default, Photoshop lets you grab the handles freely in any direction. So when I've got a crop, I can make it thinner, fatter, taller, whatever. You can drag them in any direction. But more often than not, we want to crop a photo to a standard frame size. It's like 4:6 or 8:10. Now if you look near the far left of the options bar along the top of the screen, just here, you'll see a drop down. And here we've got ratio, width times height times resolution. But in here we've got some original ratio, which is the original ratio that my camera is. I can crop for say a 1:1 square, or let's say a 4:5 or an 8:10, or a 5:7, or let's say a 6:4. Now Photoshop instantly snaps the crop to exactly the crop ratio that you select. Now if you need to crop your image to a less common aspect ratio, one that's not on the list, you can easily create your own. So here I can say, oh well, let's have a 2:3. Well, let's say we'll have a 1:3. We'll have a really weird one. So we want a 1:3 crop. And what I could do is save that out now as a new crop preset. I'll save that out as 1:3 and click OK. And then that's my current crop. And you can see here I've got that set up now as a preset. Now if you want to rotate this crop to take it from portrait to landscape, there's a keyboard shortcut to do that, which is the X key. So if I press the X key, it will rotate it from portrait to landscape, or from landscape to portrait every time you press the X key. And like I said earlier, to move the image inside the crop, we just click inside and we can move the image relative to the crop boundary till we get the crop that we desire. Now, grid overlays. There are several grid overlays available to help you with your cropping. When you've made your initial crop, you'll notice that there is an overlay. You can see here there's these lines, and that's on the rule of thirds by default. Now you can select others from a drop-down list. So if we go up into the tool options bar at the top here, we'll see this little doohickey thing here, and if we click on that, we'll get a drop-down box, and you can see these are all the grid overlays. We've got rule of thirds, grid, diagonals, triangles, golden ratio, or the golden spiral. We can define when we want to show it. Do we want it just to come on automatically when we're hovering inside the crop, or always or never? And we've got a cycle overlay little keyboard shortcut, which is pretty cool. So by pressing the O key, what I can do is I can cycle through all these crops. So that's my grid, I've got that. I've got triangles, we've got, I think that's the golden mean, and we've got the Fibonacci spiral, the golden spiral. And then we come back to the rule of thirds again, and this is just to help you with your cropping. Now, rotating and straightening an image. Now, Photoshop gives us a couple of different ways to straighten an image by using the crop tool. Now, the first is by simply rotating the image manually. Now, to rotate it, if you move your cursor just outside the crop boundary, it'll turn to this little bendy arrow here. And if you hold the left mouse button down and click and drag, you can actually rotate the image relative to the crop. So if you've got a little wonky horizon, or you wanted to, in this case, let's say straighten that pole up a little bit, you just rotate. Now, Photoshop automatically places a grid overlay inside the crop to make it easier to judge when the image appears straight. I'll just come out of that by pressing the escape key. I don't want to accept that crop. Right, another way to straighten an image is using the crop tool by using the straighten option in the options bar. So let's just have a look at another image. We've got an image here that's a little bit wonky. So what I'll do is I'll go up to the straighten option here. And the way you use this tool is we click on straighten. So we've actually got the tool now, and you see you've got like a little spirit level. And then you click and drag a line along a point that you think should be perfectly horizontal. Well, this horizon should be horizontal. So if I click, and you get a little elastic band, and I drag that just out to where I think the horizon should be, and then I let go, and it crops it automatically to be perfectly horizontal. Now, undo, reset and cancel. What happens if you make a mistake? Well, if you happen to make a mistake as you're adjusting the crop box or the image, you can undo your last step from the crop tool by going up to the edit menu and choosing undo, or by pressing the keyboard shortcut Ctrl and Z on Windows and Command and Z on a Mac. Or you can completely reset everything, the crop box, aspect ratio and any rotation you apply by image, by clicking the reset button, which is up here. If you change your mind and want to cancel the crop completely, click back on the no entry sign here, or press the escape key on the keyboard. A fairly recent addition to Photoshop is an option up here in the tool option bar for delete cropped pixels. Now, this is whether you want to be destructive in your edits or non-destructive. Now, if I put a tick in here and then I create a crop, then what's going to happen is that everything outside this crop now will be permanently deleted. It's gone forever. If I untick this, then I do a non-destructive crop. So I can actually go back to the image and recrop it. I don't throw away any of these pixels around the outside. And that's my preferred workflow. I do not have a tick in delete cropped pixels. So now if I accept this crop and then later on think, oh no, that's not very good, then if I go back into the crop tool and then click inside the crop, you'll see all those pixels are still there. This is totally non-destructive. I can then move, rotate, create a new crop, whatever. All those pixels are kept. So I'll just drag that out to make it a bit bigger. Okay, now we've got content aware. Now when you rotate an image, so let's put this back to full size. When you rotate an image, the crop is restrained in the initial document bound, so this means you can lose valuable image data. So I'll just rotate that and show you what I mean. So here, this crop is I'm going to lose this data up here, this bit of sky. I'm going to lose this bit down here. And of course I've got some holes now that I need filling in. Now we could do this with the fill command after we've cropped, but again a fairly recent addition is content aware crop. So now what we can do is we can put a tick in content aware, and now when I actually perform the crop, what Photoshop will do is use content aware fill to try and fill out all these extra pieces. So let's just stretch that out a little bit more. So let's say we want the whole image to be in this, we don't want to lose anything at all, and then I'll accept the crop. There we have it. Photoshop's actually filled in a lot of the areas that were bare, but we've kept all the pieces that were rotated initially outside of the crop boundary. Now we've got some additional crop options that you can set, and they're up here under this little cog. If I click on that little wheel there, you can see we've got the first one is use classic mode. Now classic mode is a throwback to earlier versions of Photoshop where you used to move the crop relative to the image. In later versions of Photoshop you move the image relative to the crop. So I'll show you how that works. If I activate that, then I'm now in the bad old days, if you like, of the crop tool. So if I now make a crop, I now move that crop relative to the image. So the image stays where it is, but the crop moves. Okay, if I now go back and untick use classic mode, I'm now back in today's version of Photoshop. And in this version, what I do is I move the image relative to the crop. The crop stays where it is. It's up to you which one that you like. I prefer the more modern version, and I keep using that. Now what else we got in here? We've got show cropped area. Well, this is the area that it shows you around the outside of the crop when you're performing the crop. Auto center preview does what it says on the tin. It makes sure that the preview comes up in the center all the time. Do you want a crop shield to show? Well, I do like that crop shield, and you can change its color or its opacity. And if we just perform a crop, you'll see this is the crop shield. This is the area that we're technically going to throw away that we don't want. All this will do is turn that area off. And you can actually change its opacity, make it darker or lighter to suit your own needs. And lastly but not leastly, we can actually resize an image while we're cropping it. Now this option's up here in the tool options bar. If I click this drop down box, I've got a WH times resolution. This is your resizing option. So if I select that, I can type in here that we've got a width, we've got a height, we've got a resolution, and we've got the units of the resolution. Now I'm going to let's do a 5 inch. So I'm going to put my IN in for inches, and then when I tab over, I'm going to say 4 inches. So I'm going to put more IN. If you're using centimeters, you could put cm and it would automatically recognize it. I'm then going to tab over to the resolution, and I'll say, well, let's say this is going to be 300, and the units that I want is pixels per inch. So I'll just drag these corners in a bit so we're actually in the pixel data itself. So now I'm going to have a 5 inch by 4 inch by 300 pixels per inch image when I accept that crop, which I'll do, and there it is. I'll just zoom out a bit. There we go. Well, that's it for this video. I do hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or leave a comment under the video. Don't forget to check out the more area under the video for the link to any download files or free ebooks. And please click the subscribe button so when I upload a new video, you are the first to know. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.